We're going to get straight on with this one. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Silly Season Racing League. It is Division 1, Season 7, Round 2 in Singapore. When my webcam decides to actually work, it doesn't look like it wants to. So we're going to jump straight in to the proceedings for tonight. Of course, 18-minute qualifying session and then a half-distance Grand Prix to finalize everything here. Then we're off to Japan, United States, Austin, Mexico, and Brazil for our first 6 rounds in Season 7. Last time out, that is not the correct. We'll look at those in a sec, but the standings are correct there. So Andy Andre is currently on top, followed by Energetic and Verstappen with a surprising P3 there. Bavish, of course, suffering in the final lap of the race there, way down to 4th there. Moksha having a great race up to 5th with Race Chase Herman, Quincy Kovachka, and Tarkagino rounding out your top 10. Then from 11th to 15th is Crank Jog, Brian Brooks, Jolly Boy John, Mr. Alto with Bards, Andrew, Flip, Russa Siri, Quad, and Shaggy, rounding out to your drivers that are registered for the championship. Kick Sauber take top honours for the time being after round 1 with 27 points, then followed by Mercedes with 26 points, of course, and DeAndre sole scoring there. Then it's Haas in 3rd with Williams on the same amount of points there in 4th. Then 5th are the McLaren team. From 6th to 10th, it's Alpine, Aston Martin, Ferrari, Red Bull, and their sister team, Racing Bulls, rounding out the bottom of the constructors. Now, of course, Singapore has been on the calendar since about 2007. Of course, a couple of races here and there cancelled due to 2020 events, which I will not remind anyone of. But has had numerous changes, of course. You might remember the Singapore sling being a left, right, left corner, of course, not a literal sling until that was changed in about 2011. And then, of course, there was the removal of the bridge corner where the circuit after, I think it was about turn number, I think I'm tempted to say 14, but I will double check that when I get a bit of time. And certainly since the removal of that, the safety car percentage has since been reduced. Of course, the last two Grand Prix, of course, the one we just had the weekend just gone, did not yield a safety car either, and rather a frustrating set of affairs as Herman retires, so must have either had a disconnect or is serving a qualifying ban for tonight. I do know that there is a post-race penalty coming someone's way. That does go to Bart. I will, of course, double-check the amount that he has to serve before we get into the swing of things here tonight. But at the moment, we are seeing Salvi go around the Singapore circuit, and he is just on an outlap as of right now, before he will then start his flyer. So he will lead the 18 cars behind him on to their qualifying laps. Yeah, of course, his teammate retiring from qualifying, so I wonder if he's serving a qualifying ban for one reason or another. I did try and join the pre-driver's briefing, but unfortunately, through my phone, I had no audio. So, unfortunately, people must have been speaking, but I couldn't hear any of it, unfortunately. So, of course, we'll have to just see if we get any updates throughout the session. Of course, this is perhaps one of the auto camera angles that I've certainly seen. Doesn't really work too well, because once they depart over to the left-hand side of the track, I can't really see what's going on. So, I'll try my best to cut some onboards there as well. But so far, all but Energetic and Quincy are currently on their outlap. And of course, Herman, as we've already mentioned, is the exception. They're not going to take any further part in this qualifying. As the Alpine there struggling now, there was a bit of a rule set put in. It was full wet tyres being the mandatory tyre for qualifying and no other tyre. You cannot go on to intermediates. Well, we'll see how that fares out. Does this shake up the field in any way, shape, or form? Remember, it was Bards who was on pole last time out. And so we'll see if he can repeat that. But, of course, does have something hanging over him as soon as the race finishes, which I'm just trying to find out for you right now. So I'll be right with you on that. So it's Salvi and Andrew currently on their flying laps. So we're just seeing Salvi now, who's coming to Memorial Corner now. and takes that rather okay. But you can see in these full wet conditions, these tyres aren't really used for grip. They are used to move moisture off of the track surface. But of course, with the weather conditions as they are, a mandatory rule put in by the admins of SSRL, we do now run all qualifyings in the wet, and now we are going to experiment with full wet tyres. Salvi there, I thought, was going to have a tyre fall off on the left-hand side of his car there, but just scraped by and will continue on, and he's even close to the wall there, as I thought we were going to see a car there missing a few wheels coming through that section. But that just shows you how narrow Salvi is running it, but that's not necessarily the best section through there. And now approaching this turn, which would usually house a DRS zone, but with the weather conditions as they are, DRS is turned off. And just in case you need to know this, DRS is the drag reduction system. That is the letterbox on the rear wing, which opens up when you're within a second of the car at the detection point, and then you can activate it through the detection point, and then activate it through the activation point. And that just gains you a bit of extra speed. And if you can use that with your energy recovery system, which grants you a bit of extra horsepower, that can then set you on your way. So 150.2 from Salvi. Andrew will be next across the line in the Aston Martin. He's just gone through the final couple of turns now. He'll be finishing his lap in a few moments' time. Where is he to Salvi? Over a second ahead. And that's more what I expect to see. I think we're going to be seeing probably a high 46. Because remember, if you remember from last week, the track kind of still had that track evolution despite, you know, the wet conditions we were in. We went from the 149s to the I think it was the 144s by the time we were done. I will just, of course, see if I can double check that also. But of course, time to find. Bavish now goes to the top, 148.55. So Andy RJ with a bit of work to do. Over nearly a second to find there, but if there's anybody that can do that, it will be the Romanian in the Mercedes for tonight. So don't count him out of proceedings just yet. We are now about to see Race Chase go across the line as well. Had to be demoted to 6th place, I believe, because someone's post-race penalty did get removed, and he is at the moment 9th place there, and started in 9th place as well from qualifying. So habits repeated themselves. I think Jolly Boy John just went to the line there, as then Bards does as well. Up to 3rd place he goes, and actually that was the Kick Sauber of Tarkangino, his teammate, currently in 2nd place there, energetic, maybe trying to go for a title run in that Kick Sauber. Let's see what he can do. Of course, first step is qualifying. And one of the late runners in their first part of qualifying is Quincy here, as he's now just going down the straight, separating what is turn 13 from turn 14, and is now going to go through that little kink which they call turn 15, and then approach 16 and 17 at a rapid rate of knots, but will have to stop earlier. And well, he actually goes very close to the 100-meter board there, so that kind of tells you where other drivers are at this current moment in time. Through 17 there, of course, very cautious on the throttle, as Craig Jorg has crashed it somewhere, I think. He's in the Haas, so he's actually gone into the pit lane and retired. He feels he can't set a lap there. Unless... That's a weird one to me. But Quincy, anyway, up into 6th place. We were just on board with him a few moments ago. Up into 6th, of course. Division 2 champion from last season, but Pleasant Stake trying to get a charge underway there. Energetic in the Kick Sauber, going into this as placed runner-up in the championship so far. But of course, we all know as some things stay the same. Andy up into 10th place, though. There's a bit of work to do, to my surprise. And oh, goodness me, that is a tap of the barrier through Memorial Corner, which is turn number 7. Now approaching turn 8 there. Get things slowed down again and go right. And what I really want to see is where his braking points are on this wet Singapore track. Now, track limits are very easy to invalidate here. While the walls are close like they would be in Baku, like they were last week, or even Monaco, the actual white lines are a bit further away in certain areas. For example, like here at the left-hand side, as he goes through the Singapore Sling as we speak, you can actually invalidate there. But through here, well, if you went off at the runoff area, obviously invalidation. Not so much through here. And here's where I really want to keep an eye on Andy's braking points, more or less. So he brakes at around the 100-meter board, but very deep there, and that is gonna really compromise his lap. So not quite got his braking points in, has the Romanian driver, 5-time world champion, going into tonight. Now, where does he brake here? very similar to Quincy, maybe just 10 meters later. But you can see it's actually compromised him on the exit, so maybe he's trying to benefit from a better exit as Andrew now to the top with a 1:47.9. What about the Romanian? Even better, a 1:47.8 at this early part of qualifying. So there you go, Andy from 10th to pole. And that is just what the track can do. But what about Babish? He's just going to the end of his flying lap now. Really been impressive throughout the remainder of last season. And now is trying to continue that form. But of course, remember, has got some point to prove. He lost it on the final lap. And what became a second place sadly became fourth place. Has rushed the series as well. Well, David just went up to third place there. I think Rush the Series is starting another lap. No, he actually just finished one because the Williams of Babish now demoted to fifth place after the two Tifosi drivers find their way third and fourth respectively. We finally have the one driver not setting a time, about to set one. He's just going through the final part of the track, very wide through there, but not as wide as Andy Andre on that last lap, but it's still got a pole position, so Andy has time to find, and he even has a bit of an advantage. It might only be nearly 300ths of a second, but either way, or 200ths of a second, I should say, but either way, Andy will always find a way to fight, and he will always find a way to try and give himself a challenge, and he's certainly finding these wet conditions a challenge there. And Energetic going into tonight as the runner-up, second place for him after a brilliant second place. He's currently down in 14th for now, but we know he can make his way up the field if the cards require him to. Last week, starting from 12th place, biding 10 positions. Now, don't get me wrong, we had 4 DNFs from Bards, Trugster, Andrew, and Flip, so don't get me wrong, he was helped, but had to get the next 6 positions himself. So Energetic definitely has the skill, and on this street circuit, that is going to be oh so important. Last week's pole sitter seems to be struggling in the full wet. Of course, the new rule brought in tonight, full wets are the required tyre for this qualifying session. Now, Bards probably just needs to come in and set a lap on a fresh set of full wet tyres, and maybe he could go faster, but at the moment times are down to the 1:47s. I don't think we're going to quite see the 1:44s, but I think we're going to be looking at the 1:45s by the end of the session potentially. And I think that might be a more realistic scenario and something that the drivers will need to meet. Now, I did bring up earlier that Bards does have a penalty. I think it's Bards coming his way. Yes, he has a 3-second post-race penalty due to an incident in Baku. And I can actually bring you some of the previous winners here from Season 5, which is when Division 1 last raced here in Singapore. That honour went to fellows, so with second and third going to Andy Andre and Moksha. So, of course, if you remember, Season 5 wasn't the dominating season for the Romanian driver, and of course you might remember he actually got the title early in both divisions back when we were more relying on scheduling to dictate Mondays and Tuesdays. Now we do have it pace-based, so all the top guys here in Division 1 and all the amateurs and maybe slightly slower drivers or maybe aren't quite on pace with Division 1 on in Division 2, and of course that will be brought to you tomorrow. It will be at the same place with the same rules, and we will find out how this goes. But either way, look at this. Flip Namsram, 15th last week, failed to finish the race, proving a point tonight, up into 4th place. What a jump from the Racing Bulls driver. Great stuff from him. But then as soon as I say that, Quincy with a great time, a 1:46.6. But I imagine these times will keep tumbling down, and Quincy will be thinking, can I be one of the last drivers across the line? And I think that's going to be Andy Andre as well, who's just come onto an outlap now and needs to find, yet again, 1.2 seconds. We know he can find more than that, and the time that he has lost is definitely through turn 14, where he went very wide there and almost had to bring the car to a complete stop. So he has time to find. And as we say that as well, Trugster, with a very famous quote last week, with a, well, 8 thousandths between him and Quincy. So first and second, not separated by much, but the one quote we took away from last week in Division 1, one must finish with 4 wheels. Of course, he crashed out at turn 3 at the Baku City street circuit, and he unfortunately had to settle for a DNF. So looking to kind of make a comeback. Of course, he has a permanent seat in Division 2 tomorrow night. So you will see Truckster again tomorrow night. So just getting his references in. As Bard's now up to 3rd place. That's more what he would want to see. Up to 3rd place is the Red Bull driver, as then I think that is... Who's that just coming? Energetic, with a bit more representative time. 1:47.8 there, but still 1.2 seconds away. I think that's further back than he would like to be, but it is ahead of, well, as things stand tonight, his championship rival. One good driver I am keeping an eye on, because he's actually qualifying in the place that he finished last week. Qualified 8th place, so we know he's got decent qualifying pace. Finds himself in the mid-table, but when it came to the race pace, of course, that Baku just being as tight as it is, similar street circuit to Singapore with a few nuanced differences here and there, couldn't really find the top 10. Had to settle for what was it? I think I said 14th place. I was 14th place, so only 2 points there on offer, and singular point for that in 15th. That honour actually went to Mr. Wouter. He started in 4th place and couldn't really find it. And well, after a lot of mistakes and a lot of accidents, could only find himself 15th. So he only took away a singular point in that race. So the Racing Bulls with a bit to prove. The Red Bulls with a bit to prove as well. And Bards now needs to just be careful. He's got a 3-second penalty coming his way thanks to an accident. Well, thanks to an incident caused last week. Now, let's just see the tyre allocations at the moment. So, Andy Andre on a fresh set of tyres. He's actually on a flyer right now. So, let's actually cut to the Mercedes driver. Tried to take his 6th championship in a row. Now, I know he took 2 titles last season. But, of course, because that was in a completely different division, that doesn't really count towards his tally. So, overall, he is actually a 6-time world champion when you compare it between both divisions. But for the sake of continuity in this division, it's 5 championships, and I think he would rather that if I know him long enough for the 5 seasons that I have broadcasted over Andy's domination, I do think he would like to have 6 titles, maybe even 7, and become the Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton of this league. And wow, that is all the way to the wall there. He's paid for the track. He's going to use all of it as Bavish goes to the top of the timing boards there. Pole position for now with a 1:46.4. That was Rush the Siri coming in, and then Quincy batters that time, but Andy's coming to the line. He's behind both Williams. Williams knocking out 1 and 2 for now. Andy RJ will have another bite at the cherry with 2 minutes to go. He can recharge his ERS, cool down those tyres, and then he can go again. But for now, Andy Andre on the back foot as we currently come to the end of qualifying. I think Truckster will just have enough time as he finds 007 on that lap. No positional improvement there. And Rush the Siri, I think, has just come off a lap, but he has time to get his way around the track and go again. But for Truckster, it is going to be very tight. He needs to really hurry up and also recharge the battery as well. And that's where you don't want to be if you're coming to the end of your lap. There is an Alpine coming to the line as well. That is Salvi, who is improving as well. He's up by 1.1 seconds in Sector 2. Through Sector 3, this will be his last time. That is 6th place, but that is not going to stay that way. There are still times to come in, but Salvi there into the top 10. Will he stay there? Well, we'll soon find out. And already, that's Jolly Boy John up into 8th place. He's just set his time, so he goes back to where he began, and that will be his final flying lap. One of the kick salvers is coming to the line now. That will be Energetic 6 there, invalidated lap, but he will go again. He's got one more minute, one more lap, and it will soon be decided, and we'll keep an eye on him. But I think Quincy will have time for another lap. He will. There's traffic in front. There's his teammate as well. Wonder if there's going to be a bit of slipstream between the two of them, as Andy is also on the same part of the track with 35 seconds to go. They will comfortably get to the line and start again. Truckster is the only one we're doubting at the moment as Rush the Siri starts his final lap. Well, actually finishes his final lap. He's just got into 3rd place there. Great stuff as Quincy into the pits. Quincy retires from the session because he feels he can't go any further unless if there was something we didn't see. But Bavish now is going to begin his final flying lap in qualifying. The driver from Mauritius is going hell for leather on the Singapore circuit, as will Andy Andre. But at the moment, we need to see who got to the line there. Truckster does not get to the line. He's into the pits there, so he will not go any further in this qualifying session. But Salvi, of course, has already completed the lap. What about Flip here? Flip is up by nearly half a second. There are other improvements happening around the track as Truckster retires from the session. But I think there were two drivers there. In fact, one actually made it to the line. So both, no, Bard's there will not re-perform pole position. He's finished 6th. Mr. Walter down to 13th there after qualifying 4th last week. So he's got a bit of work to do. 9 positions he is down. And McLaren to the line as well. Kovachka does not improve there. So Moksha, despite having a great race, will pretty much reiterate his qualifying. He finishes where, well, he qualifies where he was last week. So major work to do. And then Energetic came to the line. And that's it. He couldn't really find another time. So let's see what the top 3 are up to. Well, Push the Siri can't improve here. But there's more action happening at the front. But here we go. 16th place. Tarkangino on finishing his flying lap. Where can he go? 13th place. That's great from him. But what about Danger David? He's not at the line just yet, but we need to see what's happening as Rush the Siri found all the time. Babish is in the pits. Andy Andre, 3rd place. And for the first shot, Danger David takes it at the line. What a time from the Scotsman. As now Flip does find an improvement in Sector 3. He finds 12th place. But Danger David, at the death, takes pole position away from Quincy. And the 145s were where you wanted to be, or low 46s. But the Quincy of Rush the Siri separated by 1,000th of a second in qualifying. Great stuff, and that relegates a couple of drivers. So now Andy will start in 4th place. An unfamiliar territory. But he can still make miracles happen. Don't count him out yet. Of course, the race will be ran in dry conditions, or at least realistic conditions. So let's go through your final qualifying results. We just announced pole. That goes to the Scotsman, David. Then it's Quincy, Rush the Siri, rounding out your top 3 with 4th and 5th being Andy and Bavish. Andy probably needing a bit more in that qualifying, but we'll see what he can do in the race. Then from 6th to 10th is Truckster, Andrew, Bard, Salvi, Energetic. And then 11th to 15th, Race Chase, Flip, Jolly Boy John, Tarkangino, and Mr. Walter, with Moksha rounding out 16th to 19th with Kovachka, Herman the German, and Crank Jorg, who retired in the pit lane. I believe there was a qualifying ban for both Herman and Crank Jorg. If there is any differing information from that, please do let me know. But we are now going to go for a break. And we will be back with you as well in a few minutes' time. I'm just going to try and see when we will be next underway. And then we will be right back with you. So, we will be back underway in 3 minutes' time. So we're going to go away. We're going to go quiet. But see you in 3 minutes. And well, we are back now, and we are about to get things underway for a dry race here in Singapore. It is Danger David on pole position. He took that away from Quincy in the dying seconds of qualifying. Quincy now second place with Bushra Theory third. Brandy Andre, a shocked fourth position there, but Bavish right behind and looking to make amends after his fatal mistake in Baku last week. Truckster in sixth place, just looking to finish. One must finish with four wheels. Andrew in seventh place with Bards in eighth there, pole position last week, but sadly couldn't convert it. DNF'd, and now a 3-second penalty coming his way post-race. We'll try and keep an eye on that as it comes to a close. But Salvi was able to remain in the top 10 after initially putting in the time which saw him 6th place. Great stuff there from Salvi as the times came in at the end of qualifying, but 9th place will be where the Alpine starts. Energetic second place in the championship coming into tonight will now have to start 10th and have a bit of work to do. Very hard to overtake here around Singapore. Race Chase 6th place last week, but will start 11th, down 2 positions from where he was last week. In from qualifying, Flip Damson 12th, Jolly Boy John 13th, Tarkangino 14th, Mr. Router rounding out the top 15 drivers. Then from 16th to 19th, both McLarens with a disappointing qualifying and not setting a time is Herman the German and Crankchalk. Crankchalk retiring, Herman the German also retiring. I believe they might have been serving a qualifying ban, but don't quote me on that at the moment. I've not been updated on that as of right now. So we've just got to wait for Danger David to get onto his grid slot. Now, only 2 drivers on the hard tyre going into tonight. Into tonight's race, I should say. That will be Herman the German and Gavachka. So let's see how long they can go on. Herman repeating his strategy from last week, and he really needs to have it try and work, or else he's going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Finished 7th from what was 14th place last week, and well, has a lot more work to do going into tonight. But now we're going to snooze the adverts because we have a start to watch, and the countdown will be any moment now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Singapore. I think Quincy got the better start there. He's already alongside Danger David, and he's got the lead of the race going into turn 1. But Danger David with that outside line as Andy Andre is pushed off the track. Quincy is pushed through the corner, and he has a bit of a moment, but keeps it all together. And now David from pole to 4th place as Andy now with the inside, but David fights that back. And now Bavish says, I'll take advantage of that. Thank you very much. Looks to the inside initially, but nowhere to go. Energetic also making up a position, as does Flip. Race Chase is now down, and Truckster also down a few positions. They're fighting going into the Memorial corner, and with the outside line gets it done. But now Bavish is going to try around the outside through here. The outside will become the inside as there's a bit of contact between the two. Nothing aggressive, but somehow they go side by side. What a defense from Andy. Oh my word. Andy Andre, you magnificent driver. What a defense. And Bavish must have thought he had that all secured, but no, the 5-time world champion had something to say about it, and he stays 4th for now. And at the moment now, Quincy is just having to really keep things behind for now. Let's have a look at your biggest winners and losers, but there is a battle going on. Oh my goodness me, Flip has gone wide at 14 there, and has to spin in the right direction. Even Herman has lost positions off of that as well, as Energetic is the first driver to get a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Trust me, he will not be the last, but he may be the first. But he is certainly the first, beg your pardon, as now Moksha is trying to fight for positions yet again. And now it's, oh my goodness me, Herman the German with a move down the inside through the final 2 corners. He did get his car there, but that forced the kick Salva to go wide through the turns of 18 and 19. And that was risky, but brave, and it paid off for the Alpine driver. DRS now activated, so we are going to see a few battles start to close up, and that is Danger David to the inside of the main admin there. Nowhere to go as Andy Andre is going to try and fight back. We saw this happen with Bavish on the last lap, but nowhere to go for the Romanian this time around. And at the moment, he is just kind of having to stay put, as I need to see what other battles are happening in the background. There certainly seems to be a close one between Bards and Energetic. although no action has happened there so far. Nobody seems to have damage as of right now. I don't think I've seen any front wing end plates go flying as of this lap, but now surely Energetic is going to try and have a go at the Red Bull. Of course, the lead might be changing in a few moments' time, so we'll try our best to see what's going on there. But the Kicksalver very close to the Red Bull, but nowhere to go. And of course, there will be a double dose of DRS for the Kicksalver, but now Quincy is side by side with Frustasiri, and Quincy takes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. And well, what can anybody else? Oh my God! No way! Andy Andre, in a rare mistake, is out of the Grand Prix. No way! Tarkangino's also had a moment, as he's missing an entire front wing. I don't think the two are related at all. Tarkangino was further back. It was going into the next turn, and I wonder who had... Wow! I wonder if he got caught on a part of the barrier. As Energetic onto the hard tyres. Oh my goodness. What a shock. Here, the 5-time world champion is out of the Singapore Grand Prix. And I'm going to try and catch a word with the Romanian if we can, because we did not catch that on the broadcast. I do apologize to everybody, and I'll see if we can grab a quick word with him. But now, Andy Andre... Well, he's used to fighting back from these kind of positions before. He, remember in Season 3, had a mixture of DNFs in the beginning of that season, but still pulled it back. So it is territory he is very oddly familiar with. I don't think he would have wanted it like that. That is rather sad, but it was only a VSC, beg your pardon. It was a VSC. I thought I saw a yellow dot somewhere on the track, so now we are going to get back racing, and DRS will still be activated. And I don't think Andy is going to be joining us. I don't see any news from him that he will join, so I think we're just going to leave him to it. Oh wait, no, he is here, but wait a minute, we're going to see Frustasiri try something on Quincy, but I'm just going to try and grab a quick word with Andy Andre. Andy, I'm really sorry to hear that. Lap 2 out of 31, your Grand Prix comes to an end. We didn't catch it on the broadcast. Can you just give us a quick overview from your point of view of what happened?
Yeah, I was just in a train, focused on the wrong braking board, and just went straight on, gently touched the wall in the runoff area, and yeah, sadly the wheel came off, and that's all for the day, unfortunately.
Well, it was looking oh so good, as we just see a swap for the lead here with Kavachka getting the 3-second penalty there, but very wide there from Frustasiri. Quincy will fight that back for the time being. It's going to continue to go side by side. We'll come back to Randy in just a second, but now that's all sorted out. But Bavish now has free real estate. Is up one position already. Messes up that corner there, but keeps the Aston Martin behind for the time being. Now, Andy, of course, you're not too unfamiliar with these circumstances at the beginning of the season. I remember Season 3 being a huge one for you. A couple of DNFs, but you still came back to win the championship that season. I guess it's going to be just onwards and upwards from you from here.
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit too early to give up at this stage, despite today's result. And yeah, I'll just have to keep working forward, and hopefully I'll be able to make it back.
Andy, thank you so much for taking our questions. We'll see you next week. All the best to you.
Yep, all the best to you. Good luck to the guys. See you next week. Bye.
See you next week. Obviously, Andy there had to say goodbye to us on lap 2 out of 31 after touching the wall, and that sadly sent one of his tyres to come off the car. That's about as far as he could go. But now, somebody can gain an advantage from this. Can Energetic get up the field a little bit further and try and maybe take advantage of this? But we have another yellow flag at turn 1 for Crank Jorg facing the wrong way. How did you do that? How do you do that? I really don't know. But then there's Kavachka spinning round, and there's more drama. Is Herman involved? I don't think so. No, he is not. No. I can't think ill of our co-commentator. But at the moment, Kvachka now having a moment. I don't think the two are related, as Herman is up to 13th now, and he's carving his way through the field. And we've seen him do something similar, where he started all the way back. It was, I think, either Monza season 3 or 4. Starts all the way back from 14th place. And oh my goodness me, there is a traffic jam at turn number 13. Don't know what happened. Again, we miss more accidents, but there is Babish missing almost his entire front wing there on the left-hand side, or at least most of it. And Babish, who could have gotten a good result, as Danger David in the same boat. What about Quincy and Rustasiri? What happened there? We saw Babish having a moment while we were talking to Andy Andre, and I don't think Babish has realized how serious the damage is. And that is going to be an app that he's going to lose so much cornering performance. The top two have already checked out from the other Williams driver, but Danger David is in the wall! What is going on here in Singapore? The first ever race I commentated with SSRL was an 11-car finish after the wet rain came at the very end. I co-commentated that with Shamrock. Feels like a lifetime ago. All the way back, season 2, round 2. I think it was it Andy that actually took that win? I would need to have a quick look at that. But either way, craziness happening in Singapore as per the SSRL tradition. You wouldn't want it any other way, although some of the drivers might disagree with that. Kvachka and Flip into the pits, of course, for their stops. Of course, the rule that stays the same here between sim racing and real-life Formula 1. You do need a mandatory tyre swap during the race there. So now, in all honesty, if Andrew cannot make his way past Bavish quickly enough, well, that would mean that really the lead of the race is going to, well, the winner of this race is going to go down to the two in front right now. It's Rush the Siri and Quincy. And Quincy with a second helping of DRS might try and use that to get a bit more of an advantage, but no dice there for the Williams. I think the Ferrari actually let him through there, so they're trying to play DRS games to try and get away from the two at the back there. But Andrew will not be wanting that at all. He wants to try and catch up, but also he's got a damaged front wing for good measure, so that won't be helping him anyway. And now Bards, despite serving a 3-second penalty post-race, not for track limit violations, by the way, just for the fact he caused an incident back in Baku, so he's got to serve that. And then as long as he doesn't do anything else, well, that will be there won't be any further penalties. But Danger David now into the pit lane after taking off his entire front wing at turn 1. Not quite sure what happened there. Might have been a bit of contact. We'll try and see as he's retired. So, oh my, he cannot go any further, and I wonder if that's somebody else we could grab a word with. So let's try and see if we can grab just a wee quick word, as they would say in Scotland. And yeah, no, it seems like we'll be taking a lot of these, because I do kind of want to know what happened there. We saw like, you know, the aftermath of the incident. We saw him in the wall, and this will be our second DNF interview of the evening. But here we go. Rush the Siri again is going to try and take away the lead from Quincy, but I think we should try looking elsewhere. Let's have a look at Jolly Boy John, as he's currently concertinaed, as there might be a chance here for Mr. Walter to have a go into this corner. But remember, Jolly Boy John has the DRS from the car in front, as there's been a bit of a swap there between Flip and Tark and Gino. That was for 15th place there. We'll just cut back to that battle for 8th rather briefly, but Jolly Boy John nowhere near close enough for Salvi as well. Still hanging on to 7th place. This is a very, very impressive race from, I believe it's the Italian driver. I do apologize if that is not correct. So shout out to him in the Alpine, but also shout out to Bavish there, who is doing a great job there as now. Finally, Jolly Boy John and, well, the triple sister teams start to go side by side through turns 1, 2, and 3. Energetic with the fastest lap of the race, but now this battle will continue on as, well, he's just had some footage posted in the Discord, so we will take a look at that in just a second if we have some time. Okay, let's see what happens. But here we go. There's Moksha now getting involved. It's going to become a 3-wide battle into the next turn. You can't be serious. The McLaren backs out, but the Red Bull comes out on top. And at the moment, 9th place goes to the Red Bull of Jolly Boy John. His teammate Bards is not too much further down the road, and he's got that done. The other Scotsman in this race has been rather fortuitous, up 4 positions from his qualifying place of 13th, and right now is definitely on a roll. But Bavish is doing favors for his teammate here, despite his damaged front wing. He is not backing down from this. He is trying to give Andrew as much trouble as he can. But the gap is also not increasing by as much as maybe Quincy or Nasiri would like. It's now at 3 seconds there, as now Truckster has a damaged front wing end plate, so I don't think really anybody in this pack is going to be in any way fortuitous in grabbing the lead, as now Bavish will come into the pit lane and has had enough of that front wing. By the way, just a few words from Dage David in the Discord. Don't think he's going to join us for a DNF interview, but it looks like his first part of the incident happened. Yeah, just going into turn 13 there, has got alongside, oh goodness me, and he's turned into, I think that was on Bavish there. I think that was Bavish there who was also involved in that. I will show you just in a good moment's time if I find it, as now Bavish comes out in 14th place. So lots of work to do for the Williams driver, but I don't think he's on for a podium, as now Mr. Welter, after Bavish's pit stop, of course, that is technically in exchange for 9th position there once the pit stops all work itself out. But now, if you're... Oh, wow. You know, you got to say, if you're the top 2, you must be sitting rather pretty. 4.2 seconds, and Andrew with a damaged front wing behind. Truckster also in the same position, but the only real worry you've got is Bards, and even then, Bards, remember, has to serve a 3-second penalty as applied by the stewards post-race. Salvi is then the next story, but then are Quincy and Rush Nasiri really going to be worried about Salvi? Probably not, in all honesty. Salvi is not on pace. He's actually kind of finding it as the season goes by. He qualified 11th last week, but could only find 30th place. But this time he's not. Well, I say he's not really falling behind. He's actually keeping up with these two. Now, of course, Truckster and Andrew with a bit of damage to their cars. That might be influencing what's going on here. As Moksha making his way through the field. That was on the exit of the corner there. That was of... Let me just bring up the track map a second. That was of turns 16 and 17 there. Moksha doing very well. Yet again, qualifying doesn't come to him naturally. But when it comes to the race, he is right up there. So... we'll see where he can target, but he's, honestly, if he keeps this pace up, he's looking at a podium with the way things are going. He's doing an absolutely excellent job. Doesn't have a pit stop to his name so far, but then again, Herman as well. Don't count Herman out of that battle for 3rd place either. This is certainly becoming a very interesting Grand Prix. Of course, Herman, I think, having to serve a qualifying ban at this moment, and that's why he qualified all the way down in, it was 18th place after Crankjorg retired, I think for the same reason of serving a qualifying ban. So keep an eye out for Moksha and Herman especially. Remember, Herman is the only one to have beaten, and, well, as I say beaten Andy Andre, he has been on point with him, but is the only other champion here in SSRL, unless you count Quincy in Division 2. But for Division 1, that purpose, that title belongs to Herman the German. I got there eventually. Season 1 champion, but that was way before Andy's time here in the league. And now Herman is beginning to catch up, and I think those hard tyres will be working beautifully for the Alpine driver, but not close enough to have a go into here. And, well, Herman is certainly putting on a show for the Singaporean fans, for the Alpine Singaporean fans tonight. And this is a rather excellent drive from the German driver, who will, of course, be joining me in the commentary box for Division 2 tomorrow night, which will, of course, be same time, same place, same channel. Don't forget to tune in to SSRL Division 2, Round 2, tomorrow. At the moment, we've just seen Bavish just make a position. That's to Crankjorg, who is coming into the pit lane. Bavish takes the fastest lap of the race, and Truckster now is getting dangerously close to the Aston Martin of Andrew, who is not able to close that gap now. Even though, I'm just going to kind of go between thoughts here, but we have a yellow flag for a spun... Oh, no! Who is that? Is that Quincy? It's a spun round Williams! It's Quincy! From what could have been a podium position, Quincy bottles it, and now is also, like his teammate from the first stint, missing his entire front left end plate on his front wing. And he is currently down in the pecking order and needs a pit stop and maybe a safety car for good measure. At the moment, we do not have a safety car, but Salvi now has a little less, more real estate. 5th place on genuine pace alone. The amateur coming in tonight, coming in from last week, but certainly the amateur for this season, is having a great race so far. Salvi, what a drive this is becoming, as now Quincy is going to lose more positions there. As, what do you expect as they kick Sauber nearly in the wall there, as Barnes, I think, is also coming in for his pit stop. He indeed is. I think Quincy will follow suit, and he does indeed there, just coming into your frame there and nearly losing the back end going into the pit lane. But now Rush the Siri looks comfortable to take this win. And what a win it would be. I do believe Siri is more of a reserve in this league. We'll see what he could do, as now to the outside goes Trugster on Andrew, but nowhere to go as there's a spun round somebody else. That is a Flip Namsram in the Racing Bulls, who finally gets pointing in the right direction and waits for everybody to come by. But does he also have damage to his front wing there on the hard tyres as well? He doesn't need to come in this early, but then again, oh, there you go. Yeah, no front wing for the Racing Bulls driver, so that means a lot of drivers are now beginning to make mistakes. We saw the same thing in Baku as well. The wall's just a bit closer than other tracks. Of course, the street circuit is probably the one place where you do expect this. But at the moment, looks like drivers are just trying to not make any mistakes most, but of course a few have fell victim. Andy Aldre with a mistake of his own, very rare to see. He had to say goodbye to the race on lap 2 out of 31, and Deja David just trying to make some room, and Babish just closing the door on the Ferrari, losing his front wing, and that sadly was a source of frustration. Deja David retired in the pit lane, so we were able to continue on. But Andy Aldre, who I thought brought out a safety car, only brought out a virtual safety car, as now Race Chase is going into the pit lane, but Herman will benefit from the DRS there. And Herman's putting on a good show, but still needs to make his mandatory stop. Remember, the rule that carries the rule of needing to switch compounds is also applicable here. So it will just be a case of time. But a lot of drivers now coming in. It is only the top 7 yet to serve a stop. Flip Namsram serving 2 stops thanks to his damage, as Mr. Welter now on Salvi. Salvi has to concede 4th place, although he is these 2 drivers still needing to make their stop, as now that is Mr. Welter into 4th place, where he qualified last week, hoping for better fortunes at the moment. And so far, no mistakes from the Racing Bulls driver. Let's see what he can do as well. But Herman the German putting on a good show. 12 places so far, and it looks like he is still matching the pace of the cars around him, and is now going to be, probably going to be the next one to target Salvi when they get to the next DRS zone. The detection point is coming right up, and I think, yeah, they just passed it now, and Herman, I think, just got into under a second there, and he's done that, yeah. But Salvi also has DRS to Mr. Router, so there will be a double dosage of DRS for both Alpines. But I imagine Salvi won't fight this too hard, considering the 2 Alpine teammates should work together. As, oh, goodness me, I think the McLaren had a moment there, just going through 16 there, or maybe that was 15. No, sorry. That was 15, then 16, 17, so I was right. But there's been a tangle further up. Oh my goodness me! There is a tangle in the pit lane. Andrew has gone. Oh, and Moksha! What the heck has happened there? As an overtake between the Alpine teammates has happened, but Andrew has been disqualified. Fun Truckster as well. Truckster and Andrew disqualified, and I think there might be a couple of words happening tonight, because there was certainly a blockage at the pit lane entry, and we completely missed that. No need for a safety car still. But now, more real estate has been thrown the way of Rush the Siri, but yet, Herman the German is probably now in a guaranteed podium as Quincy and Moksha begin to do battle. Who's got the better? And it's Quincy so far, but Moksha fighting back here. This is only for 9th place. What is going on in Singapore? SSRL seems to always have the weirdest of races at this track, and that is proving to be no different this season as Moksha fights back. And that is him up into 9th place for now. But Quincy with those warmer tyres will surely fight back through here. And nowhere to go through turn 8 as now Salvi and Energetic do swap for 3rd. And that was done at turn 14 there. And now Salvi is starting to lose positions. But now caution in sector 1. And I don't think anything's going to come of that because everybody is still moving. So someone went wide at the exit of turn 1. And now I think we're seeing that is Mr. Wouter coming to this. But now Mr. Wouter is in the picture. But who can catch up to Rush the Series? If anybody, it's Herman the German at 9.4 seconds. That shouldn't be unlikely. As now Bavish up into 5th place. Despite that damaged front wing that he took, he had to take an extended first stop. He's right in this as well, but might be needing an extra pit stop. Now, who still needs to serve their pit stops? It's actually all 3. And actually, I think Bavish might just be right back in this. Needs really another lap to go his way. He's on fresher tyres, remember. So he's on fresh set of hards compared to Rush the Series old mediums. But I think Bavish is currently the one in the best position after all the disqualifications that have happened. And I'll just see if we can grab a word, by the way, with Trugster. Andrew, yeah, I think... yeah, no, Andrew is admitting fault for that, so I don't think we really need to kind of analyse what happened there. So basically what happened was Andrew was actually caught out by a bump, which would explain why we've seen so many cars go through the pit lane just at a bit of an angle, having to correct some oversteer. And I'm just beginning to wonder now if that's also playing it as Jolly Boy John there retires from the session. Has he crashed it? Did he go and crash it in the pit lane? No, it doesn't look like it. And now Herman will now come into the pit lane. But now we've gone from 15 to 14. 5 drivers failing to finish this race as now Herman says, I think that's enough from me. As Rush the Series also into the pit lane, as is Salvi. Oh no! Salvi has not thought about this at all. He needs to stay out an extra lap, but now he's gonna be concertinaed by his teammate. He's gonna have an extended stop, maybe only slightly. But Race Chase is now coming through the final corner along with Mr. Wouter, and Salvi loses track position. He'll be losing even more as Quincy and Moksha will come through. And let's see where they come out at. Can Herman come out ahead? Yes, he can, but Salvi cannot. So Salvi is now on the fringes of the top 10. But that might be about where he can finish. Can Salvi make this work? It would be an epic drive from him, but I don't think we really need... just to kind of give you an update there. Andrew and Trugster were tangled up at the pit lane entry along with Moksha, which is why now Moksha has dropped off after having a great drive so far in this Grand Prix. But sadly, it's all gone to waste. And now we have Bavish and Bards fighting for the lead of this race as Herman is now trying to get his way into this on the medium tyre. And I don't... is this going to work for Herman? I'm a bit nervous about this one. We'll soon see, but Energetic still needs to serve his mandatory stop and also has a 3-second penalty coming his way post-race for track limit violations, as does Bards, but for a different reason. He has to serve a post-race penalty for an incident he caused last week in Azerbaijan. But the gap's starting to spread out a little bit, and now we're really just waiting for the tyre crossovers to happen for each driver. Each driver has pitted on a binging with Bavish, says one of my moderators there in the chat. Anna, welcome to you. Welcome to the stream. Hope you are having a good evening so far. Hope your Monday has been good. But at the moment, we have been treated to a rather weird spectacle. And DeAndre crashes out on lap 2 due to a light tap with the wall. And then it was Trugster and Andrew tangling at the pit entry even, and that got them disqualified. And then, of course, Jolly Boy John retiring in the pit lane, as did Danger David. And at the moment, this is where we find ourselves now, with 14 drivers only racing now. And that's why, well, we're looking at a bit of a reduced field. But at the moment, Herman the German recovering all the way from 18th at the moment. He's putting on a great drive and still has a fair few laps to go, 15. And I think he's going to be in good shape there, as he was very close to the wall there, which which can catch you out if you're unlucky. But at the moment, Herman is just riding those limits to absolute perfection. That looks, tell you what, you know that helmet there, it looks inspired by the Lotus livery from 2012, 2013. That looks like a great helmet there. Herman has designed that rather nicely. Well done to him. As now Energetic is in the pit lane, and we are soon going to see a swap for the lead as well. We have seen that now. Bavish now takes the lead of the Grand Prix. But who I'm most looking at now is Rush Nasiri up into third place now, thanks to the Kick Sauber's stop. And Mr. Welter now is starting to check out from the Aston Martin. And I think it's going to be any moment now before we see a move from the Alpine. This has been going for a few laps, but there's a crash. There's another crash. Front wing is gone. And there's a McLaren there as well. Another entanglement, maybe? It didn't look like that to me, but Kovachka was stopped there on the exit of the corner as now Kranjog is trying to stop the car, but no front wing. That is going to be difficult, but another incident has happened here as now Herman has made a move as the Aston Martin doesn't really fight that, in all honesty. I think he knows where his race is, and he knows it's not with Herman, so Race Chase allows the German driver through. But I am surprised we haven't seen more safety cars as Tarkangino also into the pit lane, placing his front wing. Kovachka just replacing tyres and Crank Jog. Well, we didn't see what happened to Tarkangino there. That one's a bit of a mystery to me. I wonder if he was in any way involved then. I don't think he was. He was a bit further down the track, so I wonder... No, he is serving a second stop. Well, he is serving a second stop there, obviously, due to the damage. And didn't catch what happened there, so interesting stuff there, coming from the Kick Sauber side of things. But again, props to Herman here, 13 positions now, and we are about to see if he can really make these tyres work now till the end of the race. He's picked the medium tyres, but I think they will fall off sooner than he might anticipate. We'll, of course, see if he's bringing any of this practice into the equation. Just got a message from Chugster, and well, we have a couple of clips to play as soon as we're done here in Singapore, and I will get those ready for you when we get a couple of minutes there. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, at the moment now, Herman just trying to bring down the gap to Mr. Walter, and at the moment that could be a bit difficult. One lap fresher tyres for him, but of course Mr. Walter on those hard tyres, as now we're about to see Race Chase potentially get overtaken by Energetic, and that is indeed what does happen. And Race Chase forced to give up the position as Quincy now makes up a move there, as Salvi is now involved with this battle. So Salvi trying to salvage something after being behind his teammate. I don't know if his position would have differed any better, but at the moment Salvi is having a good race, all things considered, even if he is one position down. But it certainly has just kept it where he's needed to be. Salvi certainly being a steady driver. And this reminds me of Kovachka back a couple of seasons ago in Season 5. Kovachka was just very consistent in the fact he could qualify outside the top 10, but always bring it into the top 10. But that just hasn't quite come to fruition on this game. He's rarely repeated that form than he had. He's just been struggling, and I think that's the same for other drivers as well. I think Herman was also not very happy with how the handling was on the game. So he's certainly not the only one. Seems to be struggling. But now Rush Nasiri is beginning to catch up to third position here, and he is about to set a move. 1.3 seconds going on to this lap, and Bard's there. Of course, you have to keep into consideration serving a 3-second penalty, even though it's not on the timing tower. It has been applied by the stewards post. It will be applied by the stewards post race, so he will. At the moment, he will lose out to Rush Nasiri, but I think Rush Nasiri is going to get a move done, and Mr. Walter is beginning to fall into that bubble. And I think Herman will indeed follow suit. So I think Herman should at least get 4th place from this, so it'll be a 14 position improvement if things stay as they are. Even though there are 5 drivers no longer racing, Herman has put in the work to get past the drivers that he has needed to, and he is looking at a fantastic result here tonight in Singapore. Rush Nasiri is now within 1 second of the Red Bull in front. He is going to get ready for DRS round this section, I would believe. Let's have a quick look. Yes, that rear wing is now open. Of course, the dirty air will begin to play havoc as he approaches this turn as well, but no trouble there for the Ferrari. He gets a better exit than the Red Bull as well. Gained about a 10th there on him as he will open DRS again. Gets what, remember, that is 2 activation points for 1 detection point. So that's why, as Crank Jorg gets a 3-second penalty, his first of the evening, and with 11 laps to go, he's certainly got himself in a good position there. So, and it doesn't actually matter in terms of his race. So everybody is guaranteed points here. So remember, the points positions start from 15th place, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then from there on out. So that sort of gets you up to 6th place. Then 5th is 12 points. But here we go, side-by-side action for 2nd place. Rush to Siri round the outside. Can he seriously make this work? And he does! What a move from the Ferrari. Gets that move done before Bards can even think about applying defensive maneuvers in the DRS. He is on a mission, is the Ferrari of Rush to Siri. What a drive this is becoming. But also, there's drives all up and down the field as well that are happening. Here we go. There's going to be more battling between Salvi, Moksha, and Quincy. No moves there for a couple of laps. So what about Herman? Of course, he's on a fantastic drive as of right now, 1.2 seconds. But now it's Energetic Company who will serve a 3-second penalty at the end of this race. But remember, in SSRL, you can appeal your 3-second penalties, your track limits, if you have the evidence to support it. Crank Jorg gets another 3-second penalty, and I think there's also a bit of an accident on the exit, and that is of turn 17 there for the Haas driver. He is waiting for Babish just to come around, and he's disqualified for facing the wrong way. And we say goodbye to Crank Jorg now, as his AI is just trying to get him pointing in the right direction. There is a caution in Sector 3 as he retires from the session and leaves. And that is as far as he's going. But that should not bring out a safety car. It doesn't. But now we kind of turn our attention to the battle for 4th place. Although I think the battle for 8th might have a twist in the tail, as Moksha might be about to make a move on Quincy. Is certainly getting close, but not close enough for turn 1. Let's see then. Let's cut to the battle for 4th place as Herman is on the rise. He's closed that gap down to the Racing Bulls, and 3rd place will be 3 seconds away if he can make a move. Not close enough to do so. So that means we go to the battle for 8th place. Can Quincy defend from Moksha? And it looks like he does in the first part of the DRS zone, and that is enough to keep the McLaren behind for a little while longer. And at the moment, well, Mr. Walter and Herman will be approaching the next DRS zone. Energetic has dropped off there. It looks like he just made a bit of a little tiny mistake there and has not been able to retain that gap to Herman. Going into the next corner, Mr. Walter pretty wide there. He qualified 4th last week, but had to settle for another place. But there we go. Herman makes the move round the outside on the straight. DRS activated, slam dunk there, and Herman will get another helping of DRS, of course, because this is the part where you have 2 activation zones and 1 detection point. So there we go. Herman should, all things considered, check out now from Mr. Walter, as now he's going to look to bring down that 3-second gap to Bards for 3rd place. And, well, he's actually pretty safe already because of the post-race penalty coming the way of the Red Bull driver. And with 9 laps to go, Rush to Siri has not been able to catch Babish at all. 7.2 seconds, and it has remained at that point throughout the entire Grand Prix. And you're just thinking now, is Herman going to try and race for 2nd place? Is that a battle that is on for the German driver in the Alpine? This has been a stellar drive. The strategy has worked out, and don't get me wrong, things have happened around him which he's had to take advantage of. But still, you dealt with the cards that you're given, and this is genuinely great, promising pace from Herman here. Of course, Season 1 champion as now Mr. Walter under pressure from the kick Sauber in the most unlikeliest of overtaking places. Mr. Walter might be able to cover this off, and he doesn't nearly. The kick Sauber having to take avoiding action as now Moksha finally gets past Quincy, and that is Quincy down to 9th place. And now can Moksha try and get a run to try and bring down that 4.2 second gap to Race Tracer for 7th. And Moksha now trying to do his best to recover what race of this he has got. Remember, started 16th last week, found 5th place, but that is, unless if there's a late safety car, I just don't see that happening for the McLaren driver if he can make up any more positions, bar 7th place there. Salvi gets DRS again and is now putting Quincy under serious pressure as now Mr. Wouter and Energetic swap positions yet again. Well, I say yet again, but that is Energetic making a move there after Mr. Wouter's defense nearly found the kick salver in the barrier. At the moment now, Mr. Wouter with DRS again, so maybe these two will start having a little bit of a fight maybe, as Energetic gets another 3-second penalty for track limit violations there. Unfortunate there for the kick salver, and now has 6 seconds to serve at the end of this race. Moksha has also checked out there from Quincy, as now Salvi is putting pressure on the Williams driver, who started in second place here after a great qualifying. Of course, that was in full wet conditions, as per the rules of this league in this new season. But now, in the dry, Quincy just simply doesn't have the pace to match. He is now under pressure from the debut driver this season, and Salvi is really putting on a showcase for what he can prove going through into the later seasons. And he is putting on a fantastic showcase so far. Getting closer and closer to Quincy, but also getting close to Herman is that kick salver of Energetic there as well. Salvi with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. I was just singing his praises, and unfortunately now has time to serve at the end of this race, so needs a 3-second buffer on both Quincy and Moksha to keep that position. But will that happen is another story entirely, as, and again, Energetic has seemed to have made a bit of a mistake there. He's now outside of that 1-second zone for the DRS, and it's just not quite coming together for Energetic in that kick salver as of right now. And thanks to his additional penalty that he gained a few moments ago, he'll be finishing outside of the top 5. That honour will go to Mr. Wouter. I don't think there's enough time in the race for Mr. Wouter to be gapped by 6 seconds. But then again, if Energetic has the pace, I don't deem it impossible. But as Herman there, and he's quick in his own right, as he's got the gap to Bards down at 1.6 seconds, and he can actually let Energetic through and be okay for the post-race penalty that, of course, will be coming the way of Bards. And that's Kovachka in front of this pack. Just so you know, that is not Moksha. Oh, no, sorry, it is. David, that is Moksha. I'm not going to finish that sentence, but I promise you that is Moksha. Not Kovachka there, not him being lapped. And, well, looks like Kovachka just couldn't quite check out from Quincy. And now Quincy is able to defend from Salvi again. And these three are certainly putting on a bit of a spectacle right now. But Energetic is now starting to close up onto the back of Herman, as Herman has lost a few tenths there. So I wonder if those medium tyres are starting to fall away from the German. Of course, remember, he can let Energetic through. And that's what he is going to do. He's going to try and use the outside momentum to get a better exit from the corner and maybe fight that back. But of course, the kick salver will have a second burst of DRS. But what I'm keeping a like... as Underling there saying G to the D there. Hello to you. Welcome to the stream. But of course, what I am keeping an eye on is Rush the Series 3.5 seconds with 6 laps to go. And at the moment, Rush the Series is on target to be within DRS of Bavish. And this one has been building up for a little while. And now Rush the Series might just be within range to take this away. But now we have a caution for Energetic facing the wrong way out of turn number 3, I think that is. Although the turns are very close together. But now he's going to find himself, well, no longer in the battle for 6th. He's going to be in a battle for what is 9th place, as now Quincy's going to try and found the outside. Goodness me! Tons of drivers have tried this, and now there's going to be a 3-wide spectacle as the kick salver recovers in front. But Salvi finds a way through, and he could gain a position from all of this as well. He'll actually finish 9th place if he can just keep the car pointing in the right direction and keep it off the white lines. And he'll be okay. Salvi could be on for a fantastic result here, as Rush the Series is still trying to close that gap. It's still at 3 seconds there, so he's not doing enough. Unless he's recharging that battery, but he's got 7 laps fresher tyres. That will be significant, I can promise you that. As now another caution has happened, and Energetic has found the wall again, and has found the wrong way going out of the corner, and that is just desperation, as now Salvi is up to 8th place there. Of course, Quincy with no penalties, as long as he can keep it between the white lines, he'll be happy and jolly once things get sorted out. But now, with 5 laps to go, gap still at 3 seconds, I don't think Rush the Siri will have enough. When are they going to invent Singer Ridge? I was thinking of you. And guess what? I think Energetic has also made another mistake. And there is a lot of front wing missing from the Kick Sauber. That is an unfortunate sight for the Kick Sauber driver. As he just cannot stop the car, and he's gone wide again. Another yellow flag will be brought out, but he will keep the racing going because luckily he is very spatially aware. And there you go. He's going to point the right way now, going out of turn number 17. And I think this might be the last we see of the Kick Sauber. Came into tonight, second place in the championship, but I think we'll see him drop down the order as other drivers around him have been able to make progress in their races. And there we go. That confirms the inevitable. It is now a 12-car field here in Singapore. But also, we were just talking about Rush the Series struggling to close the gap. Well, that was quickly proven wrong because Rush the Series has now found 1.3 seconds on this lap and has got the gap down to 1.7 seconds going into the final 4 laps of the Grand Prix here. Now, make that 1.5 at the line. He has done enough, but he will also be getting dirty air from the Williams in front. That is going to be playing a big role in how he's catching up. Who is more consistent on their best laps, as now Herman has also caught up to the back of 3rd place. And if Rush the Series and Bavish start fighting one another, well then here comes Herman the German. But he needs to get this move done ASAP, and Moksha is on race chase as well. We'll just cut to that for a brief few moments as Moksha could be looking to make a move into turn 1. Not close enough to do so. So now we'll look to Herman the German here as he's at 0.6 of a second going down the straight here and into Memorial Corner. Not close enough to have a go. But now we'll have a look as Quincy now into the pits. So this pretty much guarantees Salvi 8th place. Great drive from him so far. 4 laps to go. So not too much longer now to prove what he can do. But now, here we go. Can Moksha make a move on race chase? Not at that moment, no. But now, Rush the Series is within DRS range of Bavish. And, well, he has made this strategy work. It was a bit tight if we thought he was going to try and catch up to Bavish. But as Bavish had a moment, no, it looks like his front wing is A-OK. But it's starting to look like that Bavish's tyres are falling off. And of course, remember, Rush the Series does have 6 laps fresher tyre. Rush the Series won't be close enough to have a go into turn 16. I promise you that. Yeah, they're going to go line of stern into that corner. But Herman is going to be close enough to have a go at Bards, but decides not to risk it. Bards there kept a Red Bull wide enough for an Alpine not to go into the gap. Rush the Series still not close enough to have a go. That'll be into turn 1, but his next opportunity will be at the next DRS zone. So we're going to stick with Herman for the time being as Tarkangino and Kvachka swap. Herman still not close enough to have a go here into turn number 1. It's Kvachka and Tarkangino swapping. It matters very little, though, as Tarkangino has no penalty coming his way. But here we go now. Bavish is still, has kept Rush the Series at bay for this lap. But now, Bards is going to have to try and keep Herman at bay. But Herman is on those better tyres. The mediums are better than the hards. Bards forces Herman to the outside. They're going to go side by side into Memorial Corner, turn 7. And that was Bards holding off Herman rather impressively, if I say so myself. And now, it's beginning to look like Bards and Herman will do battle for the final few laps. So 2 battles on the track as now the battle for the lead is also going to come down to the final few laps. Bavish has done enough to try and keep Rush the Series at bay, but how much longer before surely Rush the Series is going to have a look? He's surely going to have a really massive look going into turn 16. Here we go. It is only... well, it's not too much longer now. Bavish is running out of time to keep... well, has got at least not much time to keep Rush the Series, but Rush the Series is also going to be in a hurry. He's not got any time at all. He's only got 2 laps. There's 3 opportunities. One of them is coming up now. DRS will open again, and Herman, that is the same situation. One of these opportunities now. 2 laps to go for these 2 battles. This is going right to the wire. Don't forget the battle for 6th either between Moksha and Race Chase. But now, surely, Rush the Series has not seen a win in a few seasons. It's now got a better run. Barish has made a mistake out the turn. Barish is going to try and make the outside work, but Barish loses out for now. And now what about Herman? Can he have a go? No, he can't. So Rush the Siri takes the lead in the Singapore Grand Prix. But now we need to have a look at Moksha as well. What can he do? It's only 0.3 of a second between Barish and Rush the Siri. Barish is doing a great job to stay within that gap, but here we go. As now, Moksha's going to try and have a go for 6th place down the inside into Memorial Corner. Gets the move done, and that is Salvi wide in the background, but Moksha into 6th. As Barish now is starting to check out from the leader here, which is now Rush the Siri. Barish might be feeling a little bit heartbroken. He'll have a double dose of DRS, maybe a triple dose if he can keep it within the 1 second gap, but it just looks like those fresher hard tyres are now coming the way of Rush the Siri, and yeah, that's checked out now. That battle has come to an end, unless if Rush the Siri makes a mistake. But here we go now. Herman has only got 1 more lap after this opportunity, so 3 chances to go. Here with the DRS, Rush the Siri begins the final lap of the race. Lap 31 out of 31. And we have got this battle for the final spot on the podium. Here we go. Herman's first opportunity will be here in turn 1. He is not close enough yet, but he will be much, much closer in the second DRS zone. A bit of dirty air there from the Red Bull in front. That will affect his exit. But remember also, Barnes has a 3-second penalty post-race thanks to causing a collision in Baku. But now Barnes to the inside. I don't know if he realizes that, but here we go. Herman doesn't care. Round the outside we go, and they're going to go side by side into the next corner. There's contact between the two. Barnes has messed up, but Herman gets it pointing in the right direction, and the Red Bull loses the podium. And now he's surely going to lose 4th place as well. Mr. Welter is now within that 3-second bubble. And what a move by Herman. They made contact, but in the end, nobody in the wall. And that is Herman with his first podium in what feels like forever. But Rush the Siri, how we've missed you. We will now come to the line as a winner in Division 1. Andy Andre, of course, out on lap 2. Thanks to a tiny collision, and Rush the Siri, who had a great qualifying, starting in 3rd place there, is now going to go from 3rd to 1st here in Singapore. 2 corners to go, only 18 and 19. He knows he's on the broadcast. He shows his appreciation to the audience, and Rush the Siri will win eventually in Singapore as he loses his front wing on the line. Barish in 2nd, and Herman the German 3rd place. What a race at the end there from those few, as Mr. Welter will get 4th place there after Bard's post-race penalty is applied. And Moksha there left it till the last lap. And Salvi is going to come home in an impressive 7th place. What a debut season Salvi is having. Dropping all the way down the field last race, but now in the top 10 this race. What a story Salvi is putting together in his first season of SSRL, and Quincy, taking the fastest lap of the race, will come home 8th with Flip and Kovachka following suit. Now, Flip will keep 10th place there. Kovachka won't keep 11th as she goes wide there, as Tarkangino will be the one who will finish ahead of Kovachka there. So great points there for Tarkangino, but it will be a shame that Energetic there just couldn't quite put a finish together. Of course, was involved, well, was actually missing his front wing after a certain point there, after a collision with the barrier. And now Kovachka will be the next to the line, and that will mean 11th place goes to Tarkangino. So we've had, I would say, what is it, 6 non-finishers from this race. It's been quite a race. What can I say? The biggest upset, though, coming out of this is that Andy Andre unable to finish here in Singapore. What an upset that is. The 5-time world champion, hoping to make it 6th this season in Division 1, could not finish. And that has left the door open for somebody to try and take advantage of that. And in the end, it was Rush the Siri. I do believe Rush the Siri is a reserve in all of this. The podium celebrations come too Herman the German on the podium here in Division 1. Your accolades: race winner, we all know. Fastest lap, Quincy. Driver of the day goes to Herman the German. Most overtakes also, and cleanest driver was Bards. But yes, driver of the day, for my opinion, was Herman the German from 18th to 3rd place. Rest of the series, Bavish and Herman round out your top 3 with 4th and 5th going to Bards and Mr. Walter. But of course, that will be swapped thanks to his post-race penalty there for Bards. So that is actually Mr. Walter 4th and Bards 5th. 6th to 10th is Moksha, Salvi, Race Chase, Quincy, and Flip Namsram, with your 12 drivers finishing being rounded out by Tarkan, Gino, and Kabachka. Your non-finishers are Energetic, Franchuk, Jolly Boy John, Andrew, Dage David, Andy Andre, and Trugster. And of course, the biggest shock in all of that, Andy Andre being unable to finish here in Singapore. Your top 3 interviews are going to come your way in just a few moments' time. We've already got 2 of them here, including your winner and your 3rd place driver. A couple of things we'll need to review after the post-race interviews here with our top 3. But the biggest shock in all of that, a non-finish from Andy Andre. So somebody now will have to fill in, and I think Herman and German will be feeling that little bit more confident with a 3rd place to his name, which he would have guaranteed even if Bards finished ahead of him. Of course, remember, a 3-second penalty coming his way. I am just going to step away just for a few seconds, just so that I can get my webcam working and that you can all see me for the post-race interviews, because that would be rather awkward if it was just a black screen. But I'll try my best to keep talking while I'm away from the microphone. And, well, it was certainly a lot of DNFs as well. Yeah, no, I can't find my wire for the webcam, so unfortunately we're going to have to go webcamless for this interview. I do apologize about that, but otherwise we'll just keep it here for the time being. We'll just see if everybody is in. We have 1st and 3rd, and I think we're just better off just getting underway. Rest of the series, congratulations, that is a win in Singapore. How do you feel about that?
Really good, really good. It was a nice race. I thought I lost all my competitors in the first few laps, but I got undercut really heavy, so that was some fun in the end still. So yeah, it was great fun.
And of course, I've just checked the driver lineup now. A full-time driver you are, and well, is this a push for the championship? Because remember, if you take yourself back to season 3, it all kind of came undone at the end of the season there. So could there be a bit of a comeback here for Rush Nassiri?
Let's see how the season goes. I'm open to it, let's say, but yeah, let's see when Andy doesn't trip, how it looks, because I think it's a really hard challenge, as we all know. So I'm looking forward to it.
And just for your strategy, obviously most drivers seem to be on the one stop unless there was damage, but like it just seemed like everything just came together for you this weekend. Of course, qualified in 3rd place, then found yourself at the top there. Just, was there any sort of doubt, or like, because you pitted later than Rush the Series? Sorry, you pitted later than Bavish there, who had to settle for 2nd. Did you feel like you messed up the strategy, or did you feel confident it would just come to you by the end of the race?
So I had a great start, I have to say that, because I didn't talk about that. My start was killer. And after that, yeah, with Bavish, I didn't even notice that he was like in contention, because I had Quincy behind me and David and Williams. I think it must have been Bavish then, but I didn't even know. So when Quincy behind me spun, I thought, okay, I can just take it chill. I wanted to pit in lap 14. I think I pitted in 15 in the end, because I thought, okay, I just give myself a bit fresher tires. I still feel good. But then I saw those guys ahead. I thought they maybe had damage early and pitted early and still have to pit. And then I saw, no, they're not pitting. But I was catching. So there were a few laps with Bavish where he kind of stabilized the gap, and I thought, oh, okay, am I not catching him? But in the end, when the tires reach their end of life, they have a nice cliff and then I just caught him easily.
And of course, just kind of looking at the calendar, going into next week, we are off to Japan for Suzuka Circuit. Can you bring around similar fortunes there, or is that going to be a bit more tricky?
I think it's almost every single one of us. I love the track, so I'm just looking forward to it to have some fun. And yeah, I just want to try to qualify ahead because with the dirty air, it's really hot there too. So yeah.
Okay, well, Siri, congratulations on the win. Thank you so much for taking my questions. Enjoy the
Thank
rest
you,
of your
man.
evening.
Thank you. You too.
Moving on to the second place, Bavish, a podium cruelly taken away after a mistake in Baku, and then a win taken away from the cruelty of the tyres. Bavish, are you disappointed with second, or are you happy with how things turned out?
Firstly, congratulations to the Ferrari. Very well done on obviously not getting damaged or um, having a good race in front and everything. So yeah, it was a bit of up and down race. Unfortunately, I had to pit earlier due to damage. I tried to do 2 laps with broken wings, but it was a bit difficult. So I thought I'd pit lap 8 and see where the hards take me. But it was very difficult. I would say I'm quite happy with P2, though P1 was possible today because I was looking at the pace in front and they were at least a second slower, to be fair, on per lap. So I was waiting, of course, I was being patient and everything, but lots of fighting in front, unfortunately, which did cost me. But we'll probably go back again next week, and I think it's Japan, so we'll see what happened there.
Absolutely, yes. We are off to Japan next week. But I really wanted to talk about that damage that you got on that front wing because, as you said, you kind of stayed out for a couple of laps. I initially thought it was to help your teammate. Was that a thought at all, or were you just thinking about your own race at that moment?
No, I was just thinking about my own race because quali I had really more time on lots of corners and it was so much traffic, so I couldn't really put a good lap. Otherwise, a much better lap, probably pole would have been possible. But no, I just had to look after my race really. So I was just watching what they were doing and just try to seize the opportunity. But I thought if the fight does go on for a long time, my point was to pit. I think like 15, like 16. So I was planning to just pit 2 laps before and just push to the end due to the fact that I was actually just a second faster than them. So I would have easily pulled away, of course, but tricky to make passes as well. Very tricky to make passes in the sector too.
And of course, we've had Andy Andre not finish tonight. Of course, that's been one of the biggest upsets out of Singapore. You talked about last season. I'm on for a championship charge. Has that changed at all from these past 2 races, or do you believe you can do it?
No, nothing has changed. The confidence is still there. The momentum as well is still there. So we'll keep going. We'll try to take races by races. Even the P2 is not bad. Unfortunately, to Andre, of course. So this is where you need to seize the opportunity of having a P1. I made a couple of mistakes as well. Last 2-3 laps. Obviously, I was tired, saving so much as well. So I knew I was better on exits as well. So I was thinking maybe I could keep him behind, and then by the time he catch me, it will be too late by the next corner. But I did make a couple of mistakes that unfortunately he did get me. But no, we'll still try to go for the championship.
All right. Bavish, thank you for taking my questions this evening. It's been good to speak to you. We will see you next week for Division 1 again.
Thank you so much. Congrats, everybody.
Bye-bye. Last but most definitely not least, it is a massive welcome back to a Division 1 podium. 3rd place goes to Season 1 champion Herman the German. It's been a very long time since I've seen you here. And, well, how are you feeling there? I had to start all the way at the back of the field from 18th. You took advantage of the cards you were dealt with, many DNFs, and it just looked kind of easy for you. How was that?
Yeah, I'm stoked, Dave. That was some race, honestly. I think one of the best in my SSRL career so far. Yeah, I was not too convinced on how to set up the car for quali. I was really struggling with the wet conditions for this race especially, and I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep my basically muscle memory from the dry and just completely commit to that. It was voluntarily starting at the back, and then just with everything I'd prepped, I was confident I could go and make some moves even on this track where yeah, we too also suffer from a lot of understeer and dirty air, obviously. But yeah, lots and lots of DNFs and also no safety car that was coming in my way. And then just trying to find the pace, the groove, the rhythm, keeping the rears alive was very crucial here. And yeah, heads off also to Bart's nice fight on the last lap, and obviously also Babish keeping these hearts alive for that long. Pretty impressive. And yeah, I was certain that strategy with the heart or starting on the heart was the right one. And yeah, at the end of the first stint, I could catch up to the group, and then some gaps appeared, and I could push into that past Wouter. Energetic. Then I was trying to use him to get closer to Bevish because he seemed faster, put a couple of laps later than me. But then the spin, fortunately, so I had to claw some time back. And after that, yeah, just hopefully a nice move around the outside there for turn 7. And that's basically the story.
And I didn't actually catch the pre-race briefing, so I don't know if there was anything mentioned in there about a qualifying ban, but is that why you were tired in qualifying?
Yeah, I had no ban. I was just doing this on my own, so basically volunteer to start at the back.
Oh, okay. And I mean, can you actually give me more information as to what your thinking was there?
Just the idea of the setup, I should have prepared basically to make anything work for the full wet qualifying wasn't suiting the overall pace I think I could extract from a dry race or dry setup. So I was thinking, if I gave up a qualifying session, yes, it's obviously important, especially on a track like this, but I was thinking that if I can preserve tires and push through a certain stage where other people might struggle, and my experience on this game has grown in the past couple of months compared to how I started off with season 6, I was thinking that it isn't worth it risking the dry pace for the qualifying, so I made that decision to start at the back.
Fair enough. And well, seeing you on the podium again, it gives us flashbacks to your battles with Andy between seasons 3 and 4. And obviously, he failed to finish tonight, and you were in battle with him for season 3, and he failed to finish for the first half of that season quite a few times. Is there a championship charge? Maybe your second title? Can it be possible this season?
Yeah, that was really like a mood test tonight because Buck was tricky. I think overall, yeah, lots of things didn't go my way, but I was kind of gifted a safety car that helped me boost my points, and I have a decent enough start, I would say. And overall, the feeling for Singapore, as you like, that was your first race you commentated here, that got disqualified. Then there was a crash with Kitsola and Rush in season 3, I think that was. So not the best results, although this is one of my favorite tracks. And I think this is one oh good. And there's one of the most anticipated races I was looking forward to in the overall SSRL universe, and the history we've already had with Andy, and where I just went for an extra pit stop in season 3 and just completely probably thrown away the win. And I'm just trying to take it bit by bit, trying to find something that works so I can start further up, because some of these tracks will be even harder. Because, for example, for Japan next week, there's going to be, I don't think, as many DNFs. And if so, there's probably only if there's a wet race on top of that as well, because the walls are quite far away despite it being a high speed track. So I'm looking forward to find something that will improve qualifying confidence, so I don't have to start that far down, and hopefully get into a fight with the top guys. I think there's only really a chance if they fight over the same space on the track as well, and then I'm just trying to be in the hunt for best of the rest or near the podium finish. And really depends on how well I can get ahead of things for qualifying.
Herman, thank you so much for taking my questions this evening. We hope to see this more often, and obviously, between everybody, we're hoping for a very exciting Season 7 championship. Thank you so much. We'll see you all next week. And Herman, I'll see you tomorrow in the comms box.
Yes, see you tomorrow.
And that concludes another round of SSRL. But before we go, we have a couple of things we need to review. Trugster has sent me some footage from the incident. So we're going to take a very quick look at it. And I should get this set up rather quickly. So don't worry. Let's see. Let's just pop it in this scene here. I know that has the calendar, but I'll just bring up the calendar now for you, just so everybody knows where we are. Of course, we're back here, same place, same time tomorrow night. It will be in Singapore again for Division 2, and of course, as you've just heard, Herman will be joining us in the commentary box, and then it's United States off to Austin, so we're off to Texas the week afterwards. And then Mexico, followed by Brazil for the first one-shot full qualifying, a popular format from last season. And then it's Italy, and then the second visit to the States with Las Vegas. Then it's off to Lusail in Qatar, not the best for racing, but can yield a result or two. Then it's off to Abu Dhabi, followed by the United States trifecta being completed in Miami. And still unsure if we're going to have a race there on the 22nd to the 23rd. I might ask Quincy just to see if that one is going ahead, but that will be a mystery Grand Prix if it does. Now, there is just one thing, like I said, we need to review before we go. So, that is rather zoomed in. I don't know why that came in zoomed in, as it did, but anyway, this is all sorted out. So this was Chuckster's view of the incident into the pit lane, which saw both him and Andrew disqualified. So as you can see here, Andrew hits that bump there and completely goes round. And yeah, that then meant, and there was blocking in the pit lane, of course, from Moksha behind. So both of them disqualified from the race from that. And now, if we go back into the studio mode here, then we transition back to the calendar. Because I've apparently done that on my webcam by accident. I was meant to put it in my calendar scene, but never mind. We will deal with the cards as they are dealt. And let's just see if I can find Danger David's point of view on the incident, which I, of course, saw during the broadcast, but was unable to share at the time. This was there when Danger David lost his race. So going into turn 10 there, and Bavish... Well, no, that's Quincy. Sorry, I thought it was Bavish in front. So actually, that's Quincy in front, as you can see there. So let's just see that again, as I was trying to process what happened there. So yeah, down the inside, Quincy takes the turn. And yeah, that one looks like it's a racing incident to me. If I was a steward, I would say racing incident. But otherwise, yeah, I think that is just some hard racing there from the... that's just some fair racing, in all honesty. I don't think that move was truly on. I don't think Quincy was justified to give Danger David the room, but we'll of course see. He can report it, and we'll see what happens there. Of course, Danger David filling in for, let's just check the driver lineup there, filling in for Quan tonight, and there was no Shaggy this evening, so no points going the way of the Mercedes and the constructors either. Very few points going towards the Kick Sauber because of Energetic's retirement. So I think after all those 12 drivers, I think the most points, off the top of my head, I think will go to... it'll go to Williams, but again, like, you know, that I am approximating like hell there. Ferrari won't get any... I think, yeah, Ferrari will get constructors' points, but Danger David failed to finish. So that... I think it's going to go to Williams. I think. I'm guessing in all honesty, but I think that's how it will work. It'll be very tight between both the Ferrari, thanks to Rush the Series winning in his full-time seat, and the Williams, with Quincy finishing in the top 10. I think he finished 7th. No, he didn't. He finished 8th. Yeah, he finished 8th, but we'll see if a penalty goes the way of Race Chase or Moksha, but I don't think it will. So that means, with that, 8th place gets you 8 points. So that means with Bavish in 2nd with 21 points, the most points go to Williams on this occasion. And I think that would mean Williams do take the lead of the constructors going into next week for Division 1. But SSRL action isn't over for the week just yet. We will have Division 2 tomorrow. We'll be here same time tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. BST. Be there or be square, unlike the wheels of an F1 car. But Andy Andre breaks his car to retire on lap 2, and that leaves Rush the Series, Herman the German, and Bavish to take the podium. Not in that order, though. It's Bavish 2nd, Herman the German 3rd, and maybe, just maybe, we've got a very exciting picture coming in the next few rounds. Don't go anywhere. And for SSRL, we'll obviously be back tomorrow for Division 2. Can Pleasant State keep on his good run of results, or can Quincy find a comeback in Singapore? find out tomorrow. Bye for now.